When it comes to reducing carbon emissions, the heaviest industries face the toughest challenges. That's where we come in. ExxonMobil is investing in technology to help American industry lower its emissions, including in our own operations, all while empowering businesses and creating job opportunities. It turns out that fewer emissions can mean a stronger economy. ExxonMobil, let's deliver.
I was forgotten, and you reached out to me.
As Jesus says, whatever you do for the least of these, you do unto me. Support a child in his name through Compassion International at compassion.com/unto me.
Welcome to another episode of Fringe
Beyond Limits.
Hi, guys.
Hi. Hi.
Wow, you guys are off today.
We're off.
I'm always off, so I don't have... I'm par for the course. So, we have a special guest tonight. Did you guys know this?
Sure do. We sure do.
Yeah? All right. Her name is Jessiy. Jessiy, say hi to our tens of listeners.
Hi, how's it going?
So,
Well, glad to have you here.
yeah.
I'm happy to be here.
Hopefully Frank doesn't run you off.
If I haven't run you two off yet, and I doubt I'll run her off. She's much braver than you guys.
I usually question myself right before doing this. Like, do I really want to? Do I want to deal with it? But then I suck it up.
Do I have the capacity to deal with Frank today?
The answer is always no. No one has the
Always
capacity.
no.
Yeah. But they still come back for more. So,
Unfortunately.
yes. So, Jessiy, welcome. We usually start the episode off with something that we like to call What Keeps You Up at Night. I'll have one of my other two hosts start off so you get an idea. I know I'm springing this on you, but it's more fun that way. So, Bree, Lynette, which one of you two want to go first?
I can go. All right. So, what is the youngest age at which a person can die of old age? Thinker.
Oh,
Because if you're curious, like, what's considered old age?
I guess it depends if you ask a 5-year-old, a 20-year-old, a 50-year-old.
So,
I would say 85.
so I'm going to,
That's what I think.
yeah, I think it
Like
has,
75, 80.
no, I think it has to do more with the modality of death. So it's how someone passes. So have you guys done that movie called Jack by Robin Williams where he has that disease that ages him like 4 or 5 times faster than normal? So when he's 20,
Yep.
he has the body of an 80-year-old.
Oh, yeah, I have seen it. Yeah.
Okay, so technically he's 20 years old, but when he finally passes, it's of old age. So I think it's not an age thing, it's more of how your body and your modality of death.
Interesting. Well, the median age is changing and everything nowadays too. It used to be, I think, like 85, and then it was 75, and now it's like 72
Mm-hmm.
is like the median age that someone's gonna die at, and that's messed up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I'm at that age at any day now for me. Any day.
You said it for the last like decade.
Yeah, and I'll keep saying it for 4 more decades until it finally happens. I'll eventually.
Right. Nothing this evil ever dies.
Yeah, well, that's true. I'll keep on going, and but nothing this evil really dies.
You're special.
Fact, I am. Lynette, would you like to go
I
next?
feel like my last few ones, because these obviously always happen right before I'm falling asleep in bed. So it's, that lucid dreaming type of time. And just this past week, as I was falling asleep, I was engaging in a conversation or overhearing a conversation in my dream in my head, but it wasn't English. It also wasn't a spoken language that I'm familiar with, but it definitely had rhythm. It had enunciation and elements to it. And I have no idea what was talked about, but there was some weird gibberish language just going back and forth between two things in my head. So I don't know. I'm crazy. That's all right.
So gibberish keeps you up at night.
The fact that there was a distinct conversation that I was lucid dreaming about. I don't sleep with the TV on. I don't have a radio going or anything like that. So I don't know. It was wild. I wish I could have recorded it because it sounded like a language. It sounded like a conversation, but it wasn't.
Maybe like
understandable.
aliens getting in your head.
Can you mimic? Can you mimic what you heard?
Usually I can mimic, but I don't know if I try now, because I was even sitting here. I was like, can I try and duplicate it?
Yeah, give it a shot. Let's see what comes out.
This is going to be a hot mess.
Mm-hmm.
Frank's a hot mess every day.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't. I can't. I'm just going to start laughing. Next time I'll take dictation and I'll phonetically write it down of what I hear.
So is it audible hearing or like in your head hearing?
It's, that's a good question, because I sometimes struggle with trying to understand if I'm actually experiencing any clairaudience or if it's more of a sentience type of thing. So I'm not 100% sure. It was very vivid though, and it was articulate, and it was two different tones of voices. It was like an elderly male type of sound and a younger male type of sound. But that's all I can really describe. I don't know how to make up the words that I heard, but it was wild.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Can you make like two sounds of what it sounds like?
Like Orbidifufaha Isusaha Lahiha.
I'm betting money it's light language. I speak light language sometimes when I'm doing Reiki energy healing. Like, as I'm sure you guys know, Chris Fleming's going through a lot
Yeah.
of health stuff. And when I first started sending him Reiki, because I have a picture of him autographed by him and everything, I'm like, oh, it's perfect. So I was sending him Reiki and it just started coming out like the light language, and it's literally of like no known dialect. It's like every dialect together pretty much. It's really interesting, and there's different tones and stuff, and I wasn't even thinking about it. It was just boop, just started coming out of me when I was giving him Reiki. So I'm like, oh, that's like only the second or third time that's ever happened to me.
Wow, I'm gonna have to look into that. I did not know that was a thing, but yeah, it definitely, it had a pattern to it. It had a flow, and oh, well, that's cool.
See, I'm happy.
Light language is like the universal language of love, kind of, from what I've understood. I have a friend who is like, he does Arcturian like healing and different stuff. So I've heard him say it, and I've heard one other person like in person say it, and it sounds very similar, but just a tad different. So it has to do with more of an intention of what you're feeling and trying to get across than like when we're speaking words. It's more like sounds
Yes.
that kind of make words, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So could that be that someone sent me some?
It could be, yeah.
Or
there
could I be asking and receiving some sort of response of something?
Or it could be two or more beings in the room that are having a conversation and you're picking up on it.
Yeah.
Because it's like the universal language. Like, over here in America, we have English,
Mhm.
and then over in Italy, they have Italian, but universal language is a little bit different. So it's like everything like understands light language.
Love it. Yeah, you can have those dreams where, at least for me, I feel like I get a lot of stuff through my dreams, but no mouths are moving, but there are conversations being had, there's feelings being felt, and I don't know, that makes a lot of sense to me.
I'm happy I pressed you on that. We just learned about light language.
I'm an encyclopedia of weird ass knowledge, so sorry.
You should get that
We love
tattooed
it.
somewhere.
Absolutely love it.
All right. Well, Lynette, I still think you're weird, but that's okay.
No problem.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah. So,
How about you?
Yeah. So what keeps me up at night is actually more of a logical fear of mine. And that is that I'm actually special needs and I don't know it. And that's why everybody's nice to me. That's what keeps me up at night.
Free.
Not expecting that.
Yeah.
Frank found us out.
I've heard this so many times from him.
Yeah. It's an illogical fear. Like my wife is a speech pathologist and she works with a lot of special needs children. And that also would fit the bill as why she married me. Just trying to help even more the community. And yeah, because in all honesty, there's no reason why anybody should be ever nice to me. So the fact that because I'm an idiot and a jerk and sometimes a douchebag, so I mean, like I'm everything everybody doesn't want to be. So yeah, for anybody to be nice to me, it's either community service or I am special needs and don't realize it, and you have to be nice to me.
Community service.
Oh, it's funny.
So yeah,
You know how many hours I get to log at work for volunteering
this is true.
to help you out?
Yeah, this is why
I
you
started a nonprofit,
you started a podcast.
a nonprofit to make Frank feel better.
Yeah, so that's what keeps me up. Jessiy, I usually am the one that goes last, but since you're our guest, I gave that honor to you. So what keeps you up at night?
Well, I'm trying to think. There are times where I wonder how many different beings are actually in my room watching me try to sleep. Like if my dad is there, or if there's extraterrestrial beings or fairies or ultra interdimensional, who knows? There's a lot of stuff we don't know about. So it's like, what if anyone's in here watching me right now? Like that would be awkward, or ghost or something.
Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely not going to be able to sleep tonight. Thank you.
Well, in a past episode, something that kept me up at night was, how we only see 1% of the light spectrum. And what we do see is literally just a light reflecting off of it. One of the things was what aren't we seeing that's actually there? So that kind of falls in line with that. And see, Jessiy and I are twinsies. For everyone that doesn't know, we are. I'm pretty sure we're not biological twins, since you are way better looking than I am. But I think spiritually we are twinsies.
Definitely.
So let me do this. Let me just introduce you here, Jessiy. So for everyone out there that's listening, all of our tens of listeners, Jessiy is an intriguing figure in the paranormal and supernatural community, known for her personal experiences with unexplained phenomenon. Growing up in Illinois, Jessiy encountered shadow figures with glowing red eyes, poltergeist activity, and even physical ghost interactions from a young age. These experiences deeply influence her lifelong passion for investigating the unknown, which she shares through her podcast. Do you want to plug that real quick, Jessiy?
Yeah, so I'm host on a podcast called Late Night Legends. It's usually Mondays at 9 p.m. Central Time. we are live, and then also it will be put like up after it's edited a week later on like YouTube, and then it's on Spotify, and I think there's like iHeartRadio and other places where it's at. People watch us on Twitch too, from what I understand. I don't have a Twitch.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And then, so that's basically your little intro bio, Jess. One cool thing that we learned about you is that, like you said earlier, you are an encyclopedia of paranormal experience. From
You called me a Rolodex.
A Rolodex. I did call you a Rolodex. That's right. So, and this goes all the way back to you being very, very, very young. So, what was your first paranormal experience that you can remember having?
The first thing was just I have feelings like the yard that I grew up in. I never wanted to be outside at like dusk or at nighttime, and I would definitely never go outside at dark by myself. But then after being more open and accepting of things that I went through growing up, I started having memories come back to me that I think I blocked out because of like trauma. I remember seeing like a little gray, I guess you could say, ET in the back of one of our yards because we had 5 acres of woods, and there was like a creek, and I heard like rustling around in bushes. I think I was like 5, and I looked over and saw the top part of the head of it looked like a gray, but its skin was a greenish gray. It wasn't just gray, and I could see the tops of its eyes, and it moved like one way and then it moved the other way. And I just remember feeling this like gut-wrenching fear, and then I don't remember anything. I think I ran back to the house, but I'm not 100% on that. I might end up getting regressed one day because I'm curious, but I also kind of don't want to know what happened after that. So that's like the first like memory of like my youngest, I guess the youngest memory, I guess you could say that I have.
How old were you?
That I probably 5,
Wow.
maybe 6. I know I was pretty young. My dad died when I was 10, so I know it was like right when they adopted my brother. So I'm adopted and so is my brother. We're not blood related.
Okay.
They got him when I was 4. So that's why I think I know. I think I was like 5-ish, maybe 6, because he was a baby at the time when that happened.
Okay. So, where did you grow up? Was it on a farm type place, right?
It was technically it was an old schoolhouse on an Indian burial ground in a small town called Grant Park, Illinois, which no, not Chicago Grant Park. Everybody's like, "Oh, the city?" No, more down towards like the Kankakee area, like down that way.
Yeah.
And it was the original, like the old schoolhouses were one room pretty much. And that one room was our living room, and I think the hallway and maybe one of the bedrooms, and the rest was like built on. I don't know what year, but when my parents bought the house, it had the kitchen, 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, and then the living room. So it was an old schoolhouse that got built on an Indian burial ground, which I didn't know that until later on in life when I researched the area. Like I had feelings and kind of had an idea. And then when I researched the area, it turns out like, oh, okay, this and then the golf course that was across the street from my house was all owned by Native Americans. I think it was called the Yellowstone tribe because the area I can't remember. It was like Yellowstone County, possibly. I remember hearing that somewhere. And then the golf course was called Minnie Moness Golf Course because that was the chief's daughter's name was Minnie Moness. It's probably like phonetically, I might be wrong, but that's how I grew up saying it was Minnie Moness. And then Chief Yellowstone, there's like a big rock, like with his headstone that my mom brought me to I can't remember what year she brought me to. I know I was young, but she brought me there. You had to park your car and kind of hike into the woods a little bit, and this huge boulder had Chief Yellowstone like carved into it. So that's how I know about that. But yeah, that's pretty much where it was. Middle of nowhere. The nearest gas station was probably 6 to 7 miles away. Grocery stores, half hour.
Wow.
It was kind of right on the Indiana border as well.
Oh, okay. So then the eastern part of the state, or
Yeah.
yeah, eastern part of the state. All right. Well, I'm happy that you grew up on the Illinois side and not the Indiana side.
Yeah, I'd be maybe a little bit too weird there.
Yeah. So welcome. So having such profound experiences at such a young age, how do those experiences kind of shape your interest in the supernatural?
Well, at first, I mean, I didn't say anything because my graduating class was like 24 people.
Oh,
So it was a very, very small town. I already got picked on for having dark hair, glasses, darker skin. I even got picked on because my dad died. So after he passed,
uh,
made fun of me for that. So I wasn't open about anything that I experienced. Like my mom says that like she thought it was kind of weird that I wouldn't go into one of the yards by myself, like ever, and I wouldn't go outside at nighttime. She would find me sleeping in my brother's crib at a young age and didn't know why. And then, like, after I started remembering things, the way the house was set up, our bedroom, the windows were higher up. So they weren't like normal windows, like they were like towards the ceiling, kind of. So 7 to 8 feet up, kind of.
wow.
And my bed was against the wall, and my brother had his crib, which was on the other side. And I remember looking out the window and seeing a shadow figure with red eyes staring in our bedroom. And so I would go and sleep in his crib with him because I didn't want to sleep by myself. And I actually slept with my mom until I was 13 as well. So I would go in my mom's room and sleep all the time. And oh God, I'm trying to think, like I've had so much stuff happen. Little things here and there would happen, like hearing voices like right next to you, but you can't understand anything that's being said. There was this one time where it sounded like a fight, like a male and female fighting, but like they were covering their mouths or they were underwater. It was really muffled.
Hmm.
We would get rocks thrown at us from the woods all the time. And because it's the country, we had a big propane tank. That's how we heated the house.
Okay.
And they would ding off of the propane tank or they would get thrown on the driveway. So for a while, like it negatively impacted my life for a very, very long time. And knowing what I know now, which is why I researched all of this, was I'm like, what is this? Why is this happening? This doesn't make any sense. Like, what is this? Why do I see this or feel this? Or why is this happening? After I got older, I realized, oh, I think I had an attachment because I was very negative, very hateful and violent, especially in my teenage years. And then I also found out that I have like abilities like psychic empath, or like I hate labeling things, but that's the best way to describe it. So I know I had those abilities when I was younger because I would always just know things all the time when it came to my classmates or my family or friends or somebody I liked, like I just knew stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody liked that, that's for sure.
So
So
was there like a moment or a person or a book or a movie or what have you that made you take pause and say, okay, maybe I'm not weird, I'm not crazy, and
kind
made
of
you look at like, hey, maybe I have a gift here.
so I did read a lot of books. I spent a lot of time in the library, like most of us losers do. And I had books on UFOs, ghosts, Bigfoot, werewolves, Loch Ness monster, anything you could think of. I read all that stuff. And it was, I guess you could say, reading about haunted stuff in books in high school. I was like, oh, Okay, so there is stuff out there. Interesting. Okay, but it was a tiny town, so like, we didn't have too many books on that stuff.
Right.
What made me know that I wasn't nuts was my first fiance. His name was Bobby. We started dating in it was my junior year and it was his senior year. And we were together from 2004 until 2008 or 9. He was experiencing a lot of the stuff too. And then two of my other friends that I don't even remember how I met them. It was just like probably at like Denny's or some crap when you'd go there, smoke cigarettes and drink coffee all night.
Until 4 in the morning, yeah.
Yep. We do that, and that's how you would meet people. I didn't have internet or anything like that. So
That was my
me and my other
go-to.
friend-
That was my go-to date ideas in high school. It's like, hey, let's go to Denny's and just smoke. I wonder why I never.
Was that your
That was my
was
pickup line.
that your first date with Missy?
No. We were higher class then. We went to TGI Fridays.
or Applebee's.
Chili's, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. I just wanted to let everyone know that I was a player back in high school.
So yeah, pretty much it was fine, like having a couple people that experienced it with me, where I'm like, okay, I'm not nuts. Or my one friend, or like when I was dating Bobby, I just always knew how he felt or something. Like it was like I knew he loved me before he told me he did. Like it's hard to explain. Like I just knew that he did. And I remember bringing it up one day, like, you know, obviously that's not a comfortable conversation, but I was like, so I've been feeling like, we're going somewhere, like we're going like towards serious. Like I know I really, really like you and I care about you. Like I think I'm falling in love with you, or I think I love you. I think I said something like that. I can't remember the exact conversation. And he was like, yeah, like that's how I feel. How'd you know that? And I'm just like, oh, I fucked everything up now. But no, we after that, then those three words were said all the time, and then he asked me to marry him in 2007, I think. God, it's been so long. But I mean, obviously we're not together anymore. That was like more of a high school sweetheart type of situation, but he went through a lot of the stuff that I did. He experienced a lot of the stuff that I did.
Mm.
So knowing that somebody else was there and experienced the same type of stuff, I was like, I'm not crazy. Same with like the empathic abilities that I had. Like, oh, so I was right about that. Or feeling like, I know this is like a lot of people don't like talking about this stuff, but I always felt like this one girl really, really liked him. And I kept telling him, like, is going to try to make a move on you, and I'm not okay with it. And I'm not okay with her. Sure enough, that's what happened. And he's like, I'm sorry I didn't listen to you. You were right. I don't know how you knew, but you were right. So it was like little things like that here and there validated myself, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So I think that your psychic empathic abilities may be a little skewed since you agreed to come on this podcast. I don't think you read us entirely well at all.
Oh, stop.
Well, I met you guys in person and we all were laughing and giggling. So I'd rather that than be around people that are like, you're full of shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I am full of shit.
I was about to say Frank's full of shit,
Yeah.
but you still like him.
Yeah. So
No, but I'm glad you brought that up, just because, we've all either had thoughts or had experiences, and it isn't until you find somebody to talk to about it who has a similar story or a similar experience that helps you grow. Part of the reason I think why we started this podcast in the first place is we've met a few people, we've had some really interesting conversations, and the more people we meet, the more like, oh yeah, I have a story, I have an experience, and
Yeah.
people
It's
don't
like,
talk about it unless you give them space
Mhm.
to talk about it.
Exactly. That's just like the more people that I would end up being friends with it. And I had a couple people that thought I was full of shit. They're like, there's no such thing as ghosts. Your property's not haunted. You're making it up." And I would invite them over, and then they would be a believer by the time they left.
So I would
Or
like,
you meet those like people who are like, prove it. Okay, so you had a premonition or you had a feeling or whatever. Now prove it. And that spotlight, it kills the conversation and open communication.
Exactly.
yeah, it's like meeting a comedian and going, "Tell me a joke."
Tell me something funny.
Yeah, and it's just like that's not how it works. It's not. It's not how it works. So do you think, Jesse, that a certain location or a certain type of person may be more susceptible to paranormal activity?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Like my mom still has never experienced anything
Oh
when
wow.
we lived there, and she wanted to. Like the only thing that she ever experienced was when I got a digital camera back in 2005 or 6, and was taking pictures, and all of these orbs were everywhere, and we didn't understand it. And it's not like it was dust, because there were blue ones and red ones, and there were different faces, and like it was crazy. My mom was like fascinated. Like she would have friends over and be like, Jess, take pictures, show them the pictures. So that's the only thing that she ever experienced there. And then my brother, actually, he never experienced anything and didn't believe in it. And then he pretty much said that one night, and he wished he never said that, because whatever was there proved it to him that it was there.
Wow.
Same with a couple of our friends that didn't believe me and Bobby about stuff. They come to the property, or we would go to this cemetery that was just really fucked up, but we would go there, and then they believed after that. So I think because I have abilities, I was a little light bulb for whatever was there, and whatever was there enjoyed tormenting me, because it didn't mess with anybody else in my family. It was only me. And the only time it messed with my younger brother was when he was like, "I don't believe you exist. Prove to me that you're real. Prove to me that you exist." And it proved itself. My mom never said that. She would say like, "Oh, I wish I knew what you were going through," or "I wish that I could experience something too, because I really want to." And I don't know why she never has. So I like, part of me kind of feels bad, and the other part of me is happy that she never experienced anything there.
Well, at least she was supportive and didn't tell you,
Yeah.
it's just your imagination or it's just this, just that. That at
Mhm.
least I like hearing that part of your story. It's you don't hear a lot of parents who are open to supporting their kids through it and not just brushing them off.
Yeah, and even my stepdad, when he moved into the property, his brother one day called the house, because I think my mom, was she working overnights? I can't remember. But his brother was coming home from work, and he had to go past our house to go back to his house. And so he called the house and was like, "Hey, was Christine in the yard last night, like around 8, 9 o'clock?" And my stepdad was like, No, why?" And he was like, "Weird. I saw a woman in in your front yard when I was driving past the house to go home." And my stepdad was like, "No, you didn't." And he was like, "No, I'm serious. Like, I saw a blonde woman standing in the yard, just staring off into space when I drove past your house. And I thought it was odd, because Chris works, overnight, so she would have been at work." And so if, my stepdad was like, "Did you have anybody over?" I was like, "No." So even my stepdad, who was a fucking skeptic, like he was like, "No, this stuff isn't real." Since his brother was like, "Wait a minute, what was that?" Then he was like, "Okay."
So when people are around you, since you're kind of like this beacon in the fog, do people like experience more, do you say, when they're around you or with you, or is it still like a case by case basis?
I think it's a case by case,
Hmm.
because my fiance still hasn't really experienced much, but we also haven't really gone, done too much together.
Hmm.
One thing, I think it depends also too on the person. Like if it's, especially when it comes to higher dimensional type beings, they know if you're going to freak out or not, and they don't want you to freak out.
Hmm.
or they know that, like, so if I'm with somebody and they sense that that person might be not nice towards me, if they experience something, then they're not going to try to get that person to believe, except for where I grew up. That place loved messing with people. And so my fiance, the only time that he's even told me that he had a full-blown paranormal experience was when we were out in Massachusetts last year. And he even said that. He was like, I think I just had my first full-blown paranormal experience. But he's also learned to trust me. Like when I get this feeling in my stomach, he knows that like something's happening. And then there's been times where I feel it and I don't say anything. And then he feels something. He's like, babe, I don't know. I don't feel good. And I'm like, oh, really? There was this one time where this was when we were still smoking cigarettes. I was outside on the porch having a cigarette and I saw this bright, like brilliant whitish light with like a little bit of blue. Just and it was big. It was just like chilling in the sky. And I was like, huh, interesting. If you're, something otherworldly, could you give me a sign? And it like I call it a power up. It got really, really bright and then it dimmed back down to the regular size. And I was like, oh my God, could you do that again? And it did it again. And I was just like fascinated. And then Steve comes outside to have a cigarette. And I'm like, babe, there's a UFO over there. Look, see it? See that white light over there? And he's like, yeah. And then the thing started blinking like it was an airplane. And he's like, babe, that's a plane. I'm like, it's not a freaking plane. It literally just communicated with me. He's like, no, that's a plane, babe. And I'm just like, oh, I'm not even going to try because he's not going to believe me.
That is crazy. So, do you think that there is a connection between like supernatural phenomenon and UFO or extraterrestrial experiences?
Yeah, kind of. I think everything is just in different planes that we just can't see.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is like so I'm part of like, all the different communities, the ghost community, UFO community, Bigfoot community, and one common factor in all of those is like lights, like bright lights and orbs.
Mm-hmm.
And then also I also think that like there's been times where extraterrestrial beings or ultra terrestrial, whatever you want to call them, have said, like we've communicated with people, but we get confused for as ghosts a lot of the time because nobody can see us and they think they're talking to like Dave who killed himself here when it's actually an extraterrestrial being. So like I think it all kind of is intertwined a lot of the time. We just can't see what's there. So if we're like there unfortunately a lot of the communities like to bicker and fight over this crap, but if there's ghost hunters and then you got people that believe in extraterrestrials and you got Bigfoot people, it's like, oh, there was an orb, oh, that was a ghost, no, that was Bigfoot's known for orbs, no, that was an extraterrestrial, they're known for orbs. Like people will bicker over it and be like, no, I'm right, instead of just trying to come together and be like, well, maybe it's all of it. Like
Right.
it's really rare to find people that believe that it could be literally anything or all of it at the same time.
I've often wondered about that, you know, doing our paranormal investigations and things like that nature. Like how do we know? Are we just assuming this is, like you said, Susie who died in a carriage accident, or could we be talking to something
Mhm.
entirely different?
Yeah,
Or are
pretty
they the
much.
same thing?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like I have a friend who gets visited by these ET called the Ponte, and they'll turn his figurines around or something like that, or leave their three-fingered handprints in like the dust behind the TV. And like if it was a ghost hunter that lived there, they would think that it was haunted. But because he pretty much knows what it is, he knows that it's them, it's not a ghost or anything. So like he can differentiate between the two. That's why like I know a lot of the stuff that I've experienced was more spiritual instead of like ET related, but then lately after doing more research on like Bigfoot stuff, turns out that black 8 foot to 10 feet tall beings with red eyes is seen in the Bigfoot community. Bigfoots are known to throw rocks at people. So I've been like, huh, I wonder if I experienced Bigfoot activity as well as whatever else was there. Because originally I'm like, oh, they're demons. Well, I know better now. And it was either probably Bigfoot or because it was a Native American burial ground, like the Watchers or protectors of the land. And we were on the land and they weren't happy about that. Which, speaking of that, this is interesting and funny as well. So the house foreclosed on in 2012, and then I ended up working with somebody, the daughter of the people that bought the property. So I was like, oh, okay, what are you guys doing to it? So they decided to make it a 2-story, and they redid the garage and stuff, and they were doing all this work to it. And that was in like 2013. And I've driven past there a few times. There's literally nothing's finished. So they decided to cut down this really old, beautiful oak tree that was in the front, as well as all these like privacy shrubs that were there and all these trees. And just my mom took care of the land. Like she loves to plant. So she planted stuff, and we also did bury some animals, pets that passed there as well. But they destroyed the property, like the land. It's completely different now. And ironically, it's been over a decade and nobody's living there. If you look in the windows, there are literal tools still in there. The stairs were never finished. The siding was never put on. Like, it's like they literally just up and left.
Wow.
And it's so interesting to me. Like, well, maybe the land spirits got pissed off at them because they destroyed a bunch of the property, but they didn't, I mean, they've messed with me, but they didn't try to get us off the property like that because my mom took care of the land. She planted flowers. We put in like apple trees. I think we had a pear tree as well. And we didn't tear up anything. We added to it. So they were like, okay, yeah, they're cool. They can stay. Unlike whoever owns the property now, the thing's been abandoned for over a freaking decade.
Wow. That
I've
is,
often wondered
yeah.
because you hear when people start to do remodeling, things tend to flare up, and I've just always wondered why they care so much. And you kind of touched on it as maybe they don't care, the livings, if you will, and the spirits do care. But do you have any other theory as to why that might stir up? I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to think, like, if when I leave this world, am I gonna care that someone's deciding to remodel the bathroom, or I don't know.
Would it
I'm
be
just
like some
wondering.
type of like attachment to the place that the spirit may have?
Well, I think for my case with the property, it's 100% what is on the land because it's an Indian burial ground, and Native Americans were known to have
Sure.
elementals or watchers keep an eye on their burial grounds. And usually they chase people out. And like I was saying, well, there were I don't know who built the schoolhouse there, but somebody built the schoolhouse there originally.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so interesting how the only people that kind of stayed there for a good amount of time was us. And I do think it's because we didn't disrespect the land. So, like, I think nature spirits and Native American spirits have the whole like, oh, as long as the land isn't desecrated.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also have like over in Ireland and Scotland, you have like the elementals and the fae. If they cut down a certain tree or are a certain way towards land, then there's hauntings in that area. But then I also have I think if people, oh, well, okay, perfect example, Tinker Swiss Cottage. When they started remodeling that, they got a lot of paranormal activity there. But it's because Mr. Tinker, he built that house. And so when they started doing stuff to it, it probably bothered him because that was his baby. And so that would make
Yeah.
sense that more activity would happen. And it turns out that he just wants to be, I guess you could say, told what's going on. Like, hey, Mr. Tinker, we need to wallpaper this bedroom because the wallpaper's falling off and it actually doesn't look that nice. So it would probably be best if we did that. Is that okay? And they include him when it comes to the remodeling, and the spirits, like, they enjoy that. And then the few times I've been there, like, it's active there. Like, it's awesome there, but it's not in a negative way at all. Like, they enjoy having visitors into their home because that was their special place, and it's being shown, to the world pretty much, and to all these different people in like a respectable manner. So I think they like to play with people that go there, like, oh, you want some ghost activity? We'll give you some.
Well, we got to go there now, Annette.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys definitely should. It's awesome.
Where is that?
In Rockford.
Oh, in Rockford. Okay.
No,
Okay.
right in our backyard. So, Jessiy, what is the most intense or frightening experience that you've had? And I know there's probably a handful, and I'm sure that there's more of the handful. It's of different varieties. So I'm sure there's a ghost one, a demon one, possibly an extraterrestrial one. I like to hear like your top 5. You don't have to go into great detail, but like just a synopsis of your top 5 intense or terrifying experiences, encounters you've had so far.
Oh boy. Well, probably one of the most, I guess you could say, crazy, and it was pretty terrifying that this could even happen. So 5 friends and I went to this really old cemetery that just we happened upon in the woods, and we went there during the day. And there were, I don't want to say necromancy, but that's kind of what it looked like, because there were graves that were dug up. There were altars made out of headstones with candle wax on them. Well, two of my friends that were not believers, me, Bobby, and them, decided to go to that graveyard just to check it out. And, back then that was ghost hunting, so that was fun. Well, my one friend who was in training, I think for the Army or the Navy, I can't remember which, he was one of the skeptics, and he kept trying to figure out what was following us, because we kept hearing crunching leaves that would stop literally 1 or 2 steps after us. So we would stop and listen, and we would hear 1 or 2 footsteps after us, and we're like, what the hell? And we got to the clearing where the cemetery was, and he looked over towards the end, and we saw this gigantic, like 8-foot tall, just being standing there staring at us. And that's when he was like, nope, fuck this, I'm out. So we're like, all right, yep, we're leaving. So we all decided to get out of there. Well, within 2 weeks, every single one of us almost died in like a car accident.
Seriously?
Yeah. So my Marine friend, he was on his crotch rocket, and he was driving down one of the main roads out that way, and just out of nowhere there was a pile of pallets in the road. Like,
Wow.
it was like late at night, so nobody was even in front of him, just like poof, pile of pallets, and he wrecked his bike. My fiance and I, we were leaving our one friend's house, who was with us like that night as well, and he had his own experience, but we were leaving his house, and we knew the back roads really well because we drove around there all the time. And Bobby had a like 91 Celica, like a manual, and it was raining really, really hard. And before, like, so way back in the day, you had those gigantic CD books that could hold like freaking 1,000 CDs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I had that on my lap, so I'm not paying attention where we're going, and I'm trying to find a CD to put in, and then I hear Bobby go, "Oh fuck." And he started slamming on the brakes at first, but then he sped up, and we ended up jumping a ditch because there was a T in the section of the road that we were on. But again, we've been on those roads many times. We know those roads. And from what he was saying, he didn't even see like the sign that said, "Hey, stop sign ahead," or T, intersection ahead. There were no signs. He thought we were just still going. And so he had to decide either to slam on the brakes and end up in the ditch or slam on the gas and fly over it. Well, we flew over it, and then that big ass book that was in my lap hit me in the face and I got a concussion.
Oh,
Oh my God.
So that happened to us. And then my other friend, same thing. He was driving somewhere, and then just in the middle of the road, there was just a pile of wood that made no sense. So he wrecked his car as well. So everybody that went to that cemetery that night almost died within 2 weeks. So that I can't explain that. Like, it's fucked up.
so do you think that it was like an omen, or do you think it was just a byproduct of seeing it, or a warning?
I think because the fact that we were all there that day, and that place obviously had some type of ritualistic type stuff going on and like power, it didn't want either like a warning, like don't come back. Like, I don't know. It's just, it's a little too coincidental that every single person that went almost died in a car accident within 2 weeks of us going. Like, that's
Yeah.
odd. So that was
Wow.
definitely one of the more crazy things. And then I've also had tons more like stuff being thrown at me and moved, and I've been choked, and crazy shit like that's happened to me as well.
Yeah.
All on that property.
Wow. All right. So one thing that you did share with us before is that in your early 20s, you actually died. So how has that impacted you? I mean, was it just, just another day in the life of Jessiy?
I damn near, but at first it didn't really impact me much. I was just like, well, originally, like, I didn't even care. I was just like, oh, well, I'm coughing up blood. Cool. I'm going to the hospital, whatever. I didn't care. But then, like, later on, realizing that it probably happened for a reason, because I don't know if I went somewhere or what, but my dad that passed when I was 10, he was right next to me. So that was like a knowing that he's still around and he still looks after me. That was the first time I knew that.
Mm-hmm.
So that impacted me that way. And then I think it also opened me up more. Like, I already had abilities, but it's hard to explain because I blocked it out for the longest time. Like, I was, drinking all the time, trying to numb everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally, that whole year just like made my life a mess. And I was suicidal and all that crazy crap happened. But the fact that I knew since that happened, I know my dad's still around. I think that's probably the positive impact that it had on me, was knowing that he's still there, because now, like, I sense his presence more often. He comes through at ghost investigations when I don't even ask him to, he just does. So it was like more of a concrete that there is something else. It's not just nothing. Because when I did die, I was pretty much an atheist.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't believe in anything. And then I died, and then my dad was there. So how is that possible if my dad was there and there's nothing?
Yeah.
It didn't make sense to me. So it definitely changed my point of view on things. So I was an atheist, and then I turned more into an agnostic.
Mm-hmm.
And now I have the views of like, everything happens for a reason. There's definitely universal source. You can call it whatever you want, but there is something else out there that doesn't control things, but like I was saying, like, everything happens for a reason. Like, even to the little minuscule thing, like you caught a train and then you just missed a car accident by like a second.
Right.
Like, things are interesting that way, and I've been seeing it more often. And so I think if I wouldn't have died then, I don't know if I'd still be an atheist or not, but I definitely know that I wouldn't have been so open to the fact that there is something else if that didn't happen, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, it does.
Makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. Do you think that he shows up? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lynette.
No, I was just gonna ask, how long were you legally dead?
opposed
legally
to
the right-
to illegally dead.
No, right?
Well, I don't know.
You know, you being charged for not dying properly, and we're gonna sentence you to 2 months of community service.
Well, I'm just wondering, like, I didn't know if there was like a coma or anything like that involved, and you were
So when I had the surgery, I technically died 3 times. The first 2 times they brought me back with the paddles, and the third time they called the time of death. I don't remember how long it was though, if it was like 2 minutes or 7 minutes. I can't remember what my surgeon said, but they did call the time of death, and then I came back to life, and then they finished the surgery.
that's so
That's
wild.
crazy because I'm kind of curious. I'm like, from when they called a time of death to where like you basically were alive again. Like, what was going on through their heads when all of a sudden you're just like, hey, I'm
Just
alive.
kidding.
Like, we're like zombie. Like, what was going on? Like, that's what I want to know.
You know, I'm not sure that's how it happened. Ray. I don't think she opened her eyes, looked, and goes, "Hey, you guys gonna finish this or what? I got dinner to make. I have dinner plans in 2 hours. Can you finish this up, please?"
You never know. I know I was a little over exaggerating it, but like I kind of want to know like what their thought process and like what were they doing? Were they getting ready to prepare your body and putting
Right.
whoever? Like what would they do? Like what was going on during that time?
They were checking for parts.
That's
I
what
know.
would be
I
curious.
wish I knew that. I don't even know. I just
Yeah, like
know
if
that,
they had like cameras on them, so you can kind of see like what did they do during that time?
They were checking for parts. They're making sure. All right, what can we sell on the black market from this chick? All right, she's got a liver. She's got a couple kidneys. They look good.
right.
At that point, she's probably like, "That's why I have that scar."
No, but that is crazy. Yeah. So, all right. So you almost died. That happened. So now you're into Reiki, right? You mentioned Reiki. How did you decide to jump into that? Because yes, there's a spiritual component, but like it's like so different than most of your experiences up to that point, wouldn't you say?
Kind of. I've actually always been able to heal.
Mm.
I didn't really know there was a name to it, but like people I would be dating, like they would have a headache or something, and then I would just like, I don't know, like we would be cuddling or something, and then their headache would go away, or
Okay.
stomach ache, or
Hold on.
something like that would always happen.
Hold on. I'm gonna. I think you got played. All right. Every single guy plays the impotency card and goes, "Oh, I haven't been able to get hard forever. See if you can do it." I'm pretty sure that's how that went. I don't think you healed them from impotency. I think they were always able to get hard. No?
Did you try that on Missy?
All the time, but I really can't get hard. So, I mean, I am impotent, so. Sorry. That's the first thing that popped up when you said you were cuddling, and they're like, "Oh, I'm broken."
Oh my God, no. It would just be like we're hanging out watching a movie, and they would have like a headache or something, like, "Oh, it was just my head. I got a migraine right now." I'm just like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and put your head on my lap, let me see if I can help or something like that, and then it would go away. Or there were times where it would happen and I didn't even say anything. I just put my hand on their stomach for some reason. I don't know why, just intuitively put my hand on their stomach, and then like, "Oh, that's weird. My stomach feels better." Like, "Oh, really? Huh. Odd." I didn't really think anything of it. And then in 2019, I've also always been into crystals. I got that from my mom.
Okay.
In 2019, 'cause she lives down in like Momence and I live up here by Schaumburg. So halfway point is kind of around like the Tinley Park area.
Mm-hmm.
So we were going to meet up, and she said that she just happened upon this crystal shop that's in Tinley that she didn't know about, that she found. So she told me, what it was called, and I found it. And she's like, "Hey, yeah, meet me here. The owner said he's going to stay out or stay open late so you can make it." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool. Crystal shop." went there and checked everything out. And then it's called Hi Ho Gems, and it was in Tinley Park at the time. It's in Mokina now. But so we met up there, and he had a lot of cool stuff that I was looking at, and he just looked at me. He goes, "Hey, have you ever heard of Reiki?" I'm like, No. Why? What's that?" And he was like, "It's like a universal, like, healing energy." And I was like, "Oh, really?" And he was like, "Yeah. So we have Reiki shares the first Wednesday of every month. You should come." I'm like, "Okay. Not sure what this is, but we'll check it out." And that's actually how I ended up meeting several of my best friends now, and that's how I got led down the path pretty much. I went to a Reiki share and I got Reiki, and it was like the coolest experience. Like, I got goosebumps everywhere, but in a good way, not in the bad way where you're like at a haunted location, you get goosebumps and something bad happens. It was the opposite. Like, oh my God, like this feels awesome. Like it's like a universal love type of feeling. And then, like, my anxiety would feel better or I would sleep better. So it was just like little things like that. And then I was like, how do I learn how to do this? And then the owner of the shop, he taught Reiki. So I got my first 2 certificates from him. And then my third one I got from my friend Dave, who owns a shop in West Chicago. So I got my master's from him. But as soon as I got attuned to level 2, I had no depression anymore, no anxiety. Like, I'm a lot more chill when things would just piss me off all the time. It's a lot different now. So it's like I'm a different person in a way. And the way that the universe, I guess you could say, led me down that path is one of those like, oh, that's little too many coincidences to be a coincidence. Like, there was a reason for all of that day. Like, my mom just happened to find it out of nowhere, and then the owner staying out open late just so I could be there, and then asking me if I knew what Reiki was. Like, I don't know why. I don't even know why he asked me that question either. Just like, "Oh, have you heard of Reiki?" Like, even I don't ask people that. I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" In the line of Walmart. "Hey, have you heard of Reiki? What's up?"
Yeah. I always ask people about Reiki, you know. So I'll be at work and, I do sales. So at the end of every single sales call, I'm like, "Hey, do you know about Reiki? Let me tell you about it." And it pretty much never works. I know that's why I'm bad at sales. So, so with you doing all these different things, from your paranormal investigating to searching for Bigfoot and ETs and Reiki, and then you're doing a podcast talking about all these different topics. How do you find yourself being able to stay grounded while doing all this?
Well, I have my decompression days. So usually Sundays is my decompression day where I just watch something on, like well, not TV, but like Peacock or something. Like, I was literally watching House today, like I'll just kind of zone out for a little bit to because I'm customer service. So I talk to people all the time. And there's days where I just need nothing, like just do nothing, relax at home. So I do that. And then, like, when it comes to like the Reiki sound healing stuff, it is kind of grounding in its own right. Like, when I do expos and stuff, I do get kind of tired every now and then. Like, my energy kind of depletes a little bit. So then I'll try to like just put up my little bubble, I guess you could say, my little Reiki bubble, and then I'll feel a little bit better. I've always been a busybody though as well. Like, it's hard for me to just do nothing. And I also wasn't working for 4 years. I was on disability. I got hurt at work. So I had 4 years of literally sitting on my ass doing nothing. So now, like, the fact that I'm busy all the time, but it's also following a passion of mine. So it's not like it's grueling work that I hate or don't want to do. I enjoy it. Like, October 5th, I'll be at the Rock Island Paracon, and I just got asked if I would do a sound bath for everybody. And I was like, "Oh, okay, sweet. Yeah, I'd love to." Like, my car is definitely going to be full, but it's going to be a very exhausting weekend. Like this past weekend was like driving, 3 hours, checking into a hotel, then going and setting up my booth, and then, waking up early as hell to go to the expo, and then end the expo, and then pack everything back up into my car, so that's the exhausting part. But like the everything else having to do with like the paranormal and the Reiki and the expos and all that, I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun, and since I'm following my passion, more stuff is like falling into my lap, and I'm getting more opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I don't know if anyone's ever heard of Bashar, but
Yeah.
one of the things he's always said is, follow your passion and things will just start falling in place. And therefore if you're in the vibration of following your passion and happy and excitement for it, then things will just start becoming easier, and I'm trying to think how to word this right. You'll be successful in your passion instead of just every day going to work, hating your life and hating your job. If you're following your passion will bring you happiness and excitement. And then that's pretty much the cycle.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense. So if for those that do need like protection or grounding, how would you suggest best practices of them going about doing that?
Well, literal grounding, like putting your feet on Mother Earth is always good. Like to go like into a park, lean against a tree and put your feet in the grass and like imagine green energy coming up from like roots into your body and going back down into Mother Earth to ground that way. I always wear black tourmaline all the time, so that's one thing that I do. If I ever feel like I have an attachment or something isn't right, I rub my feet in black salt. So, like, there's a lot of different things. I do have a Saint Michael the Archangel medal and a Saint Benedict medal
Mm-hmm.
as well that I wear on my black tourmaline necklace for protection.
Mm-hmm.
So I do wear that as well. And again, it all just depends on the person. Like, oh, this past weekend, I had someone ask me if I was Catholic. I'm like, I mean, I went to Catholic school, but no, I'm not. And he was like, oh, well, then why do you have those medals? I was like, because if they have protective properties, then why not have them? I don't have to be a Catholic to want to wear a St. Michael the Archangel medal, like things shouldn't be so black and white. Same with like black tourmaline. Like if you're a Catholic, you can wear black tourmaline to ground yourself.
Yeah, it's funny that it's hard for people to understand that things cross reference, like the Abrahamic religions is Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Islam believes a lot of the same things that Judaism and Christianity believe, but since people aren't exposed or are willing to learn about other things outside of their bubble, they don't know that, so Saint Benedict, Archangel Michael are alive in all three of those religions, no matter how different they may seem to the layman. They're actually not that different.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, no, that's good advice. So okay. So other than you dying and not staying dead, you zombie, have there been any paranormal experiences that you have had that made you reconsider your beliefs about life, death, or the afterlife, besides you actually dying? That's so weird to say.
Well, I mean, like I was saying, when I did die, like I didn't really care about anything and I
Mm-hmm.
was agnostic and everything. So that was the main one. But like when it comes to anything else, well, like I guess you could say knowing that there's other life out there, that's happened. One of the experiences I had with that was, well, I've always seen stuff in the sky and people like to chalk it up to, oh, it's not a UFO or it's not this, it's probably just a satellite. But I've seen too much stuff to think otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
There was when I first, so something else I do is CE5, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, when I first got into that back in like 2020, I joined a Facebook group, and the person that ran the Facebook group, I was talking to him a lot, and we were just discussing things all the time. And this one day, so one of the things that people say is like you get downloads or whatever. So like information from source or the universe, or I don't know, Akashic records, whatever you want to call it, will be put into you, and then you can access it at a later time when it's like the timing's right. So I think I was getting downloads, or my abilities were being heightened, or something was happening because my head hurt so bad, and I can't even like explain the type of pain. Like it was the top of my head and then the third eye, like right in the forehead.
Hmm.
So the crown chakra and the third eye chakra, just it hurt so bad. No lights, no sound, and then I was getting like really really cold as well. And my friend was like, I think what's happening is you're getting an upgrade. Why don't you ask for help? And I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting in the living room in the dark by myself, wrapped up in a blanket. And I pretty much was like, so if you guys are doing this to me, could you please let up? I can't function. I can't live my life right now. I have things I need to do. I understand you're probably doing something for the betterment of me, but please, 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 like, ease up a little bit. And then I felt this, like, I can't even explain it. I got the good goosebumps, and it felt like this wave of love and universal love. I never experienced anything like it aside from meeting the Mitchell Hedges crystal skull. And then I felt like warm, like this warmth around me when I was like freezing. And then my headache went away. And it was like a euphoric feeling. It's so hard to explain. And so after I asked that, that happened and my head felt better. I wasn't freezing and I could actually function again. So I was like, oh my God, thank you. And so I told my friend that, and he was like, yeah, I sensed that they, came and they helped you out. So I was like, that's interesting. Okay. And then I have another friend who lost his hearing when he was like 16, that I met recently. Like I didn't know him when I was 16 or anything. God, how old is he? I think he's in his 60s now. But he lost his hearing in high school, and he was in Stephen Greer's film where he lost his hearing, and he went to a CE5 in Arizona, and he was playing kind of hide and seek with this little red orb all night, and he was communicating with it, and then he woke up the next day and he could hear perfectly fine. So he got healed and stuff. So that's
Wow.
like another thing that has changed my view when it comes to different beings. Like I know we're not alone. There's no way we are. So that's, I guess you could say, something else that's changed my viewpoint on when it comes to extraterrestrial beings or ultra terrestrials. Like there's, who knows, really. I mean, I think that there's both. Like I know I've been in contact with Arcturians, which are very tall blue beings. I've seen them in dreams and felt their presence and stuff as well.
That is fascinating.
So in your opinion, do you, or maybe of the entities you've encountered or experienced or researched, there's so much hyperbole out there that when first contact is made public to everyone, that everything is going to be terrible and they're going to conquer our planet. Or I'm just wondering, do you feel that the other entities out there are more of a loving nature here to help and support? Do you think that there are those out there who want to control and take over? What are your thoughts on that?
That's also kind of a loaded question. So how I feel, honestly, if there was stuff that was going to take over and kill us, it would have happened already. Like a long
I
time
would
ago.
think so too. Yeah.
Yeah, so whatever is going on right now, it's all to help humanity and to help the planet, not harm it. There are beings that do not have humanity's best interest, and that will go into a whole different topic of like the cabal, if you want to call it that. Like reptilian type beings that technically control things from the inside in a
Mhm.
way. And that stuff is falling away little by little because of everything that's been happening. So it's like there are beings that aren't exactly that nice, but they also cannot interfere with our free will. So they can plant seeds for people in power and see what happens. And then there's the other, well, 90% of the beings that I know of, excuse me, are of a loving nature and they don't want anything bad to happen because humans are special, like our DNA and what we're able to accomplish and do. So they want us to, I guess you could say, ascend or
Mhm.
become better. They don't want us to be fighting in this division crap that's going on. So if anybody has the whole you versus me mentality, or oh well you like this person, well F you, I'm not talking to you, like that type of mentality,
Mhm.
then they're being influenced by the more negative, like reptilian type of entities, I guess you could say. So there is a way to kind of tell just by how people act and how they are. I'm not gonna go into detail with that because that will be here all night. But
Yeah, that's a separate interview.
Yeah. No, but I like how you kind of explain that because obviously we do experience divide and
Mhm.
polarization on folks, but I guess I never took it a step further to think that, oh, maybe those individuals, doesn't have to be the cabal or on the inside, but those who are feeding into that narrative are also perhaps influenced by the reptilian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything that is like pushing fear
Mhm.
is being like because of the negative beings. Like, so, there's certain situations in 2020 that was really, really, really pushing fear.
Mhm.
And that's because that was all the negative stuff instead of trying to bring everybody together. And then, fortunately, quite a few people kind of, because of what happened, were like, wait a minute, I'm not happy. Why am I living this life? When people had time to actually look inside and think about things. I know several people that have kind of come towards, I guess you could say, towards the light or whatever you want to call it, because of the fact that they had time to actually think about things. And they're like, wait a minute, why am I doing this for work? I hate this. I hate my life. I hate, this. Why am I continuing to do this? Like they were in a sleep state and it like woke them up. So now they're following a passion and they're happier. So that happened to a lot of people back then. And I think that was supposed to happen that way. But again, like if it has to do with pushing fear, that's what these beings feed off of is fear. So, like, I don't watch TV. I refuse to watch TV because of that factor. I know too many people that are glued to the TV and they are they are just scared of everything.
Well, just in general, you can probably talk to friends and put them in a bucket and instantly know if they're consuming a lot of media, you know?
Mhm. Yep.
So, very interesting. No, I definitely want to explore more of this conversation with you, maybe in a future episode, but
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Lynette.
Oh, Frank,
Yeah.
Oh,
any
it looked like
questions?
you were talking,
Oh,
but you were.
no. So I guess I have one final question, and I'm going to ask it and give you an example of what I'm kind of asking. So, with you doing Reiki, I'm curious as to your weirdest encounter with someone while doing Reiki. So, for example, I used to go to Massage Envy for massages, and there was this one masseuse years ago, and I wish I could find her. She left. She was awesome, and she was a bit of an empath herself. And I asked her, what's the weirdest thing she's ever encountered giving a massage? So I was kind of thinking along the lines of like people asking for like happy endings and, stuff like that. So, so she told me, she goes, well, I do like energy healing. I just know how to. And so whenever I'm giving someone a massage, I'm usually saying a prayer in my head. So she said this one time, this lady came in and she was just giving off some really just negative, bad vibes. She said she had a headache. So she was laying down face up and I was rubbing her temples and massaging the base of her neck. And it's at the same time in my head, I'm just saying a prayer. And as we started the massage and I started praying, the lady opened her eyes and looks at me and says, "Please stop praying." She goes,
Oh gosh.
she said that scared the shit out of me, and I never saw that lady again. But so,
Wow.
yeah, I can't. I would poop myself. I would poop myself probably
Yeah.
twice if that happened. So, as an example of like what I'm kind of asking, any like weird experiences like that ever happen as you're doing energy work on anyone?
Well, I have a lot of validation because I do just know things. I'll tend to just know where somebody needs extra healing. I actually gave Reiki to Cindy Kaza.
I think she's beautiful.
How's that?
Yeah, that was so cool.
Oh.
She's like one of my idols. But so that was just cool on its own. But probably, I mean, it's not weird to me just knowing things. Like I've had people ask if I knew, like, "Oh, did you know that I had my knee replaced? Is that why you put your hand there?" It's like, no, I didn't know that. I just felt like I was drawn to that area. But probably one of the only time I had something really messed up happen was at a Reiki share. So my in at Hi Ho Gems in Mokina, my Reiki teacher has Reiki shares every now and then. And there's like this little group of us, we call ourselves the OGs, we've been around the shop for a long time. But so the Reiki shares are open to the public, so anybody can go to them. And there was this one time that there was this one lady there. I was just getting bad vibes. Like I don't know what it was. I was just uncomfortable. I did not want to go by her or anything. And so my one friend was giving her Reiki, and I got the urge to go help him. Like, you should go over there and help him. I'm like, fuck, okay. So I went over there and started giving her Reiki too. And like, it was just, I don't know if she had an attachment or what was going on, but it got attached to me because that night I had like horrible, horrible nightmares that I don't usually have. And then also I was doing the dishes and I got the, sensation to look behind me. So I looked behind me and I had like some bananas that were kind of like upside down on our toasters. So, they're not really touching anything
Mm-hmm.
because we don't have, one of those little hammock things. And I watched them flip off of the toaster, like something just like flipped them off.
Wow.
And I was just like, what the hell? And like, I was also like just so freaking depressed and angry and hateful. And I'm just like, okay, this is not me. What the hell's going on? So I messaged my friend who was also giving this woman Reiki. And I was like, hey, did you sense anything with that person? Because this is what's been going on. And he was pretty much like, yeah, no, I was not comfortable. I don't know what it was, but she made me really, really uncomfortable. Excuse me, uncomfortable. And I had like nightmares and stuff as well. So I was like, huh, that's interesting. So needless to say, I saged the shit out of my house.
Where's my black salt?
Well, technically it didn't work because, I didn't rub my feet in it first because I try to do it before I get home if I ever feel like that. I had no idea that something might have attached itself to me. I just felt like this person was not who they said they were, like a facade. Because according to this person, she was a practitioner as well. And I'm just like, oh God, I hope not. Because you can't be a certain type of person and give Reiki healing. It's not going to work. All
Right.
you're going to do is make that other person miserable.
Right.
Right.
So like, Yeah, though this person was like, "Oh yeah, I've been doing Reiki and I do this, and like my inner insides were like, "You are so full of shit."
So I'm gonna, yes, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, so that's pretty much like one of the weirdest things that's happened when it comes to doing the Reiki stuff, and I haven't had anything like that happen ever since. So I double protect myself now because me and her were giving my friend Reiki, and it's just like whatever she had attached itself to me.
Mm-hmm.
And like my friend, like I was like, hey, I felt like, your hips, have you been having hip issues? He's like, yeah, my hips have been bothering me a lot. I'm like, okay, that's what I felt. And then she's over here like, well, I felt like your heart chakra, this and this and this. And, has this happened? And he's like, no. And she's like, oh, well, have you had like headaches lately? I felt like you've been having headaches. And he's like, no. So she was like 100% full of shit. And then something attached itself to me.
That's
Also
crazy.
concerning. You're going to seek healing, and you working with somebody who's a fraud, or I don't know if fraud's too
Yeah.
strong of a word, but like someone who's not doing it right. Like, what sort of distortions can that cause for you?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I know well, my friend, he was okay because he, after I told him that, he's like, okay, it felt like, like, how did he word it? Like, really cold and not like it felt like his energy was being pulled out in a way.
Mm.
So he, saged himself and everything. And then, like I said, I saged my whole apartment and myself. And I wish there was a way for people to know, but unfortunately, I don't know of a way to know if somebody's full of shit or not.
Yeah.
That was the first time that happened, though. Like somebody saying that they're a Reiki practitioner, and I don't know if because I mean, there are entities that use other people or whatever as like kind of puppets. So this person probably thought that they were doing healing, but whatever was attached to them was sucking the energy out instead.
Yeah. Huh. So I'm gonna put you on the spot now for a moment. So when we met each other at that little expo, you did do some Reiki on me. All right. So tell everyone what you picked up about me and like how big of an asshole I mean, and be as blunt and as honest as
Well,
possible.
I was gonna say I didn't really pick anything up. Like I wasn't the only thing I was drawn to was like your head, like your their crown chakra, third eye chakra were kind of messed up, and then I can't remember if there was another one or not, but I just felt like I had to concentrate on your head region.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
With like my singing bowls and Reiki and everything. That's the main thing that I remember.
All right. All right. Well, that was kind of boring.
No, we know you're messed up in the head.
This is true. That is true.
But you did say you felt a lot better. I think you said your throat too. You had a
Oh yeah, his throat chakra. I remember that now. Yeah.
Yeah. She said that was wide open. So
shocker.
yeah, real shock. Yeah. Yeah. So all right, just kind of was hoping that you kind of realized that I was the second coming. I was God's gift to women, or something like that. I guess not.
Whichever makes you sleep at night.
You just need to say something to Missy.
Yeah, right.
See, Missy, I'm the second coming.
I am the second. Yeah, I always come second.
Oh, jeez.
So,
I'm very
I'm
very chivalrous like that.
so kind of you.
Yeah. Well, ladies, we just did an hour and a half. I think
awesome.
that was awesome. And Jessiy, I'm not sure if you'd be open to this, but I know the three of us would love to have you on and have a more of a targeted Jessiy experience, instead of the overall Jessiy. Like, we would love to probably do like a whole interview on just what the CE5 is and just extraterrestrials in general. So I know Lynette is going to be up all night thinking about this. So,
Who's watching me right now?
Yeah, right. So if you want to go ahead and plug, where can people request your Reiki or schedule an appointment with you, social media plugs, whatever you want to put out there into our little universe, yeah, go right ahead.
Well, you can find me at the Rock Island Paracon. That's October 5th of this year, which is in Rock Island, Illinois. It's from, I believe, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. I'll be there. And then the next expo I'm doing is October 26th in Watseka, Illinois at the Roth House. So that place is the first documented possession case. So there's going to be like a big seance that's going to be done as well. So I'll be there doing services. I do have my business Facebook is Totally Tumbled Crystals and Healing on Facebook, or my Facebook that I use for a lot of this stuff actually too is Jessiy Hawthorne on Facebook. So Jessiy and then Hawthorne. So you can find me on there if you want to, have me do like a sound bath or have me come give Reiki session, because I don't work out of like a building or anything. Depending on how far it is, I'll just drive to your house and give you a session. That's pretty much what I'm doing right now.
Well, that's awesome. So yeah, if you want to stay on, I'm going to just sign us off and play our little creepy song. So Bree, Lynette, is there anything else you guys want to add?
No, I enjoyed this talk and this with Jessiy today. It was awesome.
Yeah, appreciate having me on.
Actually.
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome. Well, our tens of listeners, thank you for tuning in. Right? You tune into a podcast, right? No?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know, because that's like more of like a terrestrial radio kind of thing. Like, thanks for tuning in,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, guys, for listening. We love you. And I'm Frank.
I'm Bree.
And this is Lynette.
And you've been listening to Fringe
Beyond
Limits.
When it comes to reducing carbon emissions, the heaviest industries face the toughest challenges. That's where we come in. ExxonMobil is investing in technology to help American industry lower its emissions, including in our own operations, all while empowering businesses and creating job opportunities. It turns out that fewer emissions can mean a stronger economy. ExxonMobil, let's deliver.
I was forgotten, and you reached out to me.
As Jesus says, whatever you do for the least of these, you do unto me. Support a child in his name through Compassion International at compassion.com/unto me.
Suffering from dry, tired, irritated eyes? Don't let dry eyes win. Use Sustain Pro. It hydrates, restores, and protects dry eyes for up to 12 hours. Sustain Pro, triple action dry eye relief.